This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this date. And on this day, July the 11th, 1989, one of the best starts to an All-Star game happened. It was a game at Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California, home to the California Angels. Well, they were known as the California Angels at the time. The Angels playing in a nice stadium. You would not recognize Anaheim Stadium nowadays than it was the old time. You see the Angel Stadium now, and look at its wide open spaces. However, the Anaheim Stadium during the 1989 season was like cavernous and full of seats and all that. Mostly due to the fact that Anaheim Stadium was home to the LA Rams of the NFL when the Rams first were in Los Angeles. And then the question remains about why were the LA Rams playing in Anaheim? Well, due to the fact that Anaheim is a suburb of Los Angeles. Regardless of that, the All-Star game finally decided to bring in the designated hitter, which meant that both teams could bring in a extra hitter, if you will. This would be remembered for the first inning being a blast. The funny thing is that after the first 3 innings, only 1 run was scored in the whole game. The American League did win the game 5-3. So anyway, weird as it sounded, Mike Schmidt, great third baseman for the Phillies, actually retired May 29th, but yet the fans still voted him into the All-Star game. He elected not to play, but he did participate in the opening ceremony. And then Doug Severinsen led the Tonight Show band into the playing of the Canadian U.S. national anthem. This was the last time that the national anthems would be non-vocal. Anyway, the Angels hosted the All-Star game in 1967 before this one, and then their third one would be in 2010. So the starters were big and all that. As the National League brought Rick Rusho, the big boy, Giants pitcher, Benito Santiago started at catcher from San Diego. Will Clark of the Giants at first. Ryan Sandberg of the Cubs at second. Howard Johnson at third from the Mets. Ozzie Smith of the Cardinals in short. Eric Davis of the Reds. Outfield with Tony Gwynn of the Padres. Kevin Mitchell of the Giants. And DH was Pedro Guerrero of the Cardinals. The American League had Dave Stewart be starting pitcher from Oakland. Terry Steinbach from Oakland. Catcher Mark McGwire, Oakland first base. Julio Franco, Texas second base. Wade Boggs third base from the Red Sox. Cal Ripken, shortstop of the Orioles. Bo Jackson of the Royals. Kirby Puckett of the Twins. And Ruben Sierra in the outfield with Harold Baines, the DH from the White Sox. So anyway, there would be a lot of things going on. The National League had some decent pitchers. The Expos, Tim Burke, a good relief pitcher. Mark Davis of the Padres was on the National League team as a reliever. Well, he won the Cy Young Award. John Franco when he was with the Reds. Earl Hershiser of the Dodgers. Mike Scott of the Astros, although he declined. John Smoltz of the Braves. This was his first All-Star game. Rick Sutcliffe of the Cubs. And Wild Thing Mitch Williams as a Cub. People forget he played for the Cubs first. American League pitchers of note: Chuck Finley of the hometown A's, Dan Plesac of the Brewers, Nolan Ryan of the Rangers, and Greg Swindell of the Indians, among others. Reserves, key reserves for the National League: Mike Scioscia of the Dodgers, finally getting into an All-Star game after so many times. Willie Randolph of the Dodgers, Bobby Bonilla of the Pirates, Mike Schmidt of the Phillies, but he declined. So Tim Wallach practically had to come in. From the Expos, Barry Larkin of the Reds, Vince Coleman of the Cardinals, Andre Dawson of the Cubs, and Darryl Strawberry of the Mets, but he declined, so Fawn Hayes came in. American League reserves, the Blue Jays had two: Kelly Gruber and Tony Fernandez make the All-Star game. Don Mattingly and Steve Sachs of the Yankees. Jose Canseco of the A's, but he said no, so Devo White of the Angels was drafted in. So that's what happened. So the first inning happened with it actually getting a fast start, as Kevin Mitchell and Howard Johnson both hit RBI singles off of Dave Stewart, who was a former National League pitcher. However, in the bottom of the first, while Ronald Reagan was on the headset with Vin Scully, because Reagan just lost his chance to be president. Well, he served 2 consecutive terms, which meant that he couldn't run for office. But anyway, he was done with the Oval Office and then decided to join Vin Scully in the NBC booth. Well, Ronald Reagan had good reason to. Reagan actually was a baseball broadcaster for some years in the St. Louis area. So he figured he could do that. And then they watched as Bo Jackson, on the second pitch of the game by Rick Rusher, a little sinker, golfed it into deep center. It was just really deep. And we can't forget Vin Scully's comments. And Bo Jackson says hello with that home run to make it 2-1 National League. The next hitter was Wade Boggs, who tied it at 2. Then Bo Jackson grounded out and nearly beat the throw to first, which meant that he had an RBI fielder's choice. Ruben Sierra scored 3-2. Bo Jackson would steal second, making him the only player ever to have a home run and a stolen base in the same All-Star game. The AL would actually expand the lead to 5-2, with Ruben Sierra and Harold Baines getting RBI singles. Von Hayes had an RBI single for the NL in the 8th, but that was it, 5-3. And the impeccable Nolan Ryan won the game with John Smoltz the loser and Doug Jones picking up the save. It was a fun time for the All-Star game because it was the late 80s and you had the future NL MVP Kevin Mitchell on it. You had some Oakland A's representation because they were one of the hottest teams in the league. You had a few hometown Angels in the lineup. You had lots of things going for you. Lots and lots of things. And Bo Jackson hit the home run while Ronald Reagan was in the broadcast booth. You can't beat that. And Wade Boggs also tied it. So, yeah, Bo Jackson just did his job. He was All-Star Game MVP for a good reason. Soon he would have troubles playing both baseball and football when he got hit with the Raiders in that playoff game against the Bengals. And his hip was so sore he couldn't play football anymore. And he had an artificial hip to join the White Sox for baseball and did decently. But soon had to retire. But anyway, that All-Star game will always be great. Anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do